I'm Dr. Sophia Russo, 38, standing in the ballroom of the Beverly Hills Hotel, watching my family celebrate my younger sister Elena's graduation from medical school. My mother's voice carries over the classical music as she tells yet another guest, at least one of our daughters became a real doctor. Sophia just married well. Married well. That's been their narrative for 12 years. The daughter who threw away her MIT education to become a trophy wife. The gold digger who seduced a wealthy businessman instead of pursuing a real career. The family disappointment who chose diamonds over diplomas. What they don't know is that I've spent those 12 years building one of the most successful biotech companies in the world. That while they mock me for playing housewife, I've developed immunotherapy treatments that have saved over 100,000 lives. That the wealthy businessman I married is actually my business partner, and our combined net worth comes primarily from the company I founded, not his family money. In approximately 20 minutes, when Dr. James Harrison arrives to give the keynote speech, their carefully constructed narrative about their gold digger daughter is going to implode. Because Dr. Harrison's wife is alive today thanks to my research, and he's never forgotten the face of the woman who gave him 20 more years with the love of his life. Before I share how 12 years of deliberate deception is about to spectacularly unravel, I want to know where you're watching from. Have you ever let your family believe a lie because the truth was too complicated? Or achieved something incredible while everyone thought you were failing? Drop a comment below, and please subscribe if you want to hear more stories about women who build empires while the world underestimates them. Growing up in Los Angeles as the daughter of two prominent physicians should have been a fairy tale. My mother, Dr. Patricia Blackwood, was chief of pediatric surgery at UCLA Medical Center. My father, Dr. Robert Blackwood, ran the largest cardiology practice in Southern California. Success wasn't just expected in the Blackwood household, it was the only acceptable outcome. My younger sister Elena and I were groomed from birth to continue the medical dynasty. Our nursery had anatomical models instead of regular toys. Bedtime stories were about famous physicians and medical breakthroughs. Family dinners revolved around case studies and surgical techniques. Elena thrived in this environment. She was the perfect medical progeny, memorizing anatomy flashcards at 8, shadowing surgeries at 15, getting early admission to Johns Hopkins pre-med at 17. She breathed medicine the way our parents did, finding joy in the traditional path they'd laid out. I was different. While I loved science, I was drawn to the why behind diseases rather than the how of treating them. I wanted to understand cellular mechanisms, to unravel genetic codes, to find the root causes rather than managing symptoms. This fundamental difference would eventually tear our family apart. Sophia spends too much time in theory, I overheard my mother tell my father when I was 16. She needs to focus on practical medicine, not these research fantasies. She's brilliant, my father said, though his tone suggested this might be more problem than gift. Maybe too brilliant for clinical practice. She overthinks everything. Medicine isn't about thinking, my mother countered. It's about doing. About saving lives with your hands, not your theories. But I couldn't help seeing patterns they missed, connections they ignored. Why did some cancer patients respond to treatment while others didn't? What made certain genetic mutations lethal while others remained dormant? These questions consumed me while Elena memorized drug interactions and surgical procedures. My acceptance to MIT for bioengineering was met with mixed reactions. Pride that I'd gotten into such a prestigious school, disappointment that I'd chosen engineering over pre-med. You can still apply to medical school after, my mother said, already planning my redemption arc. Think of this as enhancing your medical education. Bioengineering is fascinating, my father added carefully. But at the end of the day, real doctors treat patients, not petri dishes. Real doctors. That phrase would haunt me for years. At MIT, I finally found my people. Students and professors who saw medicine not as a set of procedures to master but as a vast puzzle to solve. My undergraduate research on targeted cancer therapies caught the attention of Dr. Michael Chen, a legend in immunotherapy research. Your approach is revolutionary, he told me after reviewing my senior thesis. Have you considered pursuing a PhD? Industry? My parents expect medical school, I admitted. And what do you expect for yourself? It was the first time anyone had asked me that. I chose a PhD in molecular biology with a focus on cancer immunology. My parents' disappointment was palpable. 6 more years of school to not be a real doctor, my mother said when I told them. Sophia, you're throwing away your potential. PhD means Doctor of Philosophy, I pointed out. I'll still be a doctor. Not a real one, she insisted. Not one who saves lives. The irony of that statement would become apparent later. Graduate school was where I met Marcus Russo. Not the narrative my family would later construct, where I was a calculating gold digger who seduced a wealthy man. The truth was simpler and more complicated. Marcus was a venture capitalist auditing our research lab, looking for promising biotech investments. I was the graduate student who challenged every assumption in his investment thesis. Your business model is flawed, I told him during his presentation to our department. Excuse me? You're focusing on drug delivery mechanisms when the real revolution will be in personalized immunotherapy. You're investing in yesterday's technology. Instead of being offended, he was intrigued. Show me what tomorrow looks like. I did. 3 hours in a coffee shop, napkins covered with molecular diagrams, explaining how we could train the immune system to recognize and destroy cancer cells with precision current treatments couldn't match. This could work, he said finally. Do you have a business plan? I have the science. Isn't that enough? He laughed. Not even close. But I can help with that part. Our partnership began professionally. Marcus had the business acumen and connections I lacked. I had the scientific vision he'd been searching for. We spent months refining the research, building financial models, planning a company that could bring immunotherapy from bench to bedside. Somewhere between patent applications and late-night strategy sessions, partnership became something more. Not the calculated seduction my family would later assume, but a meeting of minds that evolved into something deeper. I should warn you, Marcus said over dinner 6 months into our collaboration, I come from money. Old Boston banking family. It complicates things. I come from doctors who think research isn't real medicine, I countered. We all have our complications. But mine might affect our company. People will make assumptions about funding, about why we're together. Let them, I said, naive about how much those assumptions would cost. We married quietly at City Hall, 2 witnesses, and a business plan tucked in my purse next to the rings. I called my parents after. Married? My mother's voice was shrill. To whom? When? Why didn't you tell us? Marcus Russo. Today. Because we wanted it simple. Russo, wait, the venture capitalist? The one from the Boston Russos? Yes. The silence stretched. Then, I see. In those 2 words, I heard the narrative forming. PhD student marries wealthy investor. Research career stalls. Gold digger achieves goal. I tried to explain about our company, our plans, the revolutionary treatments we were developing. Of course, dear, my mother said, tone patronizing. I'm sure your projects will keep you busy. Projects. Not groundbreaking research. Not life-saving innovations. Projects, like a bored housewife's hobby. The early years of building Prometheus Biotech were brutal. 18-hour days in the lab, refining protocols, failing and adjusting and failing again. Marcus handled the business side while I led research, both of us pouring everything into making the science work. My family saw none of this. They saw me at occasional dinners, heard I'd left my PhD program, couldn't handle the pressure. My mother told relatives, knew I'd married money. The narrative wrote itself. At least she's comfortable, I heard my aunt tell my mother at Elena's white coat ceremony. Not everyone can be a doctor. She had such potential, my mother sighed. But some women just want the easy path. Easy. I'd laughed bitterly in the bathroom afterward. Easy was accepting their prescribed path. Hard was building something that didn't exist yet. The breakthrough came 3 years into our research. We developed a way to tag cancer cells with specific proteins that made them visible to the immune system. Not just visible, targetable with precision that traditional chemotherapy couldn't achieve. This is it, I told Marcus, staring at the test results. This is going to work. How sure are you? Sure enough to bet everything on it. We did. Marcus liquidated family investments. I worked 20-hour days. We hired the best researchers we could steal from universities and pharma companies. Our families thought we were playing at business, Marcus indulging his wife's expensive hobby. How's Sophia's little project? My father asked Elena during one of my rare family appearances. It keeps her busy, Elena said dismissively. Better than shopping all day like most trophy wives. I bit my tongue. My little project had just gotten breakthrough therapy designation from the FDA. Our phase 2 trials were showing response rates that made oncologists weep. But I couldn't tell them. Not yet. The science was too promising, the company too vulnerable to premature attention. So I played the part they'd cast me in. The dilettante wife playing at science. The family disappointment who'd chosen money over medicine. The cautionary tale Elena could reference when explaining why she'd never marry until after establishing her career. I want what's best for my patients, Elena would say pointedly. Not what's best for my bank account. Each barb became fuel. Every family gathering where they discussed real medicine while I smiled vapidly drove me harder. When they celebrated Elena's match at Massachusetts General, I was signing deals with 3 major cancer centers for expanded trials. When they toasted her first published case study, I was filing my 15th patent. Marcus watched me navigate this double life with growing concern. Why don't you tell them? The company's established now. The science is proven. Because they've built their identity around my failure, I explained. Elena's the good daughter because I'm the bad one. If I suddenly succeed, what does that make her? Their daughter who also succeeded? You don't understand medical families. There's only room for one golden child. He couldn't understand the peculiar dynamics of a family where worth was measured in degrees and prestigious appointments. Where choosing a different path wasn't just disappointing but betrayal. So we built in silence. Prometheus grew from a startup to a major player in oncology. Our lead drug, PRX1, moved through trials with results that had the medical community buzzing about the unnamed company revolutionizing immunotherapy. We published papers under the company name, never individual credits. I gave no interviews, attended no conferences where my family might see me. Stealth mode, we called it in the business plan. But really, it was hiding in plain sight. The hardest test came when my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer. Stage 2, treatable but aggressive. I sat in family meetings where oncologists discussed treatment plans, biting my tongue when they recommended outdated protocols. There's a new immunotherapy in trials, I suggested carefully. PRX1. The results have been extraordinary. How would you know about experimental treatments? My mother asked sharply. I read about it. Online. This is why real doctors go to medical school, Sophia. So we don't get medical advice from Google. They proceeded with traditional treatment. It worked, thankfully. But knowing my protocol could have given her a 94% response rate versus the 73% she achieved with standard care ate at me. Pride had almost cost my mother precious percentage points in survival. You have to tell them, Marcus insisted that night. Your mother could have benefited from your work. She did benefit. Her oncologist started using our protocols halfway through treatment. He just didn't know I developed them. This is insane. This is family. By year 8, Prometheus Biotech was valued at $1.2 billion. We'd brought 3 drugs to market, with a pipeline that had pharma giants circling like sharks. Marcus had transitioned to CEO while I remained Chief Scientific Officer, the arrangement that let me stay invisible while driving innovation. Mrs. Russo doesn't do public appearances, our PR team explained to journalists frustrated by my absence. She prefers to let the science speak for itself. The science was speaking volumes. PRX1 had become the gold standard for certain breast and lung cancers. PRX2 was showing unprecedented results in pancreatic cancer, previously a death sentence. PRX3 was in trials for pediatric leukemias with outcomes that made hardened oncologists cry. Each success felt hollow without family to share it with. I watched Elena progress through residency, fellowship, attending physician status. My parents glowed with pride at every milestone while I sat silent about my own achievements. Elena's published 12 papers now, my mother bragged at Thanksgiving. Real research that helps real patients. My 147 publications under Prometheus Biotech's name had helped hundreds of thousands of real patients. But those didn't count because they didn't have MD after the author's name. That's wonderful, I said, meaning it. Elena was a good doctor. What's her focus? Pediatric oncology. She's implementing some new immunotherapy protocols that are showing amazing results. My protocols. The ones I developed, that Prometheus had brought to market, that Elena was now using without knowing her gold digger sister created them. Immunotherapy is fascinating, I ventured. Too complex for non-medical professionals to really understand, Elena said dismissively. But I'm happy to explain it in layman's terms if you're interested. I listened to my sister explain my own research to me, dumbed down for the family disappointment who'd chosen money over medicine. Marcus squeezed my hand under the table, the only sign of the absurdity we were enduring. The invitation to Elena's medical school graduation came with a note from my mother. I know these events aren't really your thing anymore, but it would mean a lot to Elena if you came. Cocktail attire is fine, nothing too flashy please. Nothing too flashy. Code 4, don't dress like the trophy wife we know you are. I chose a simple black dress, understated jewelry, minimal makeup. The disguise of a woman trying not to outshine her accomplished sister. Marcus kissed me goodbye, he had a board meeting for one of our subsidiaries. You could tell them today, he suggested. Elena's graduated now. She's established. Today's her day. I won't ruin it. Your success doesn't diminish hers. In my family, it does. The Beverly Hills Hotel was packed with medical royalty. Department chairs, renowned surgeons, researchers whose work I'd cited and built upon. I recognized half the faces from journal articles and conference proceedings I studied religiously but never attended. Sophia. My mother air-kissed me, then stepped back to assess. You look appropriate. Where's Marcus? Working. He sends congratulations. I'm sure. Elena's over there with Dr. Morrison, he runs the oncology department at Cedars. Try not to, you know. Embarrass you with my existence? Don't be dramatic. Just, be yourself. Myself. If only she knew who that really was. I circulated carefully, playing the part. Yes, Marcus was well. Yes, we were comfortable. No, I wasn't working, Marcus preferred I focus on our home. The lies came easily after 12 years of practice. You must be so proud of Elena, gushed Dr. Patricia Henley, a pediatric surgeon I recognized from UCLA. Following in your parents' footsteps. Very proud, I agreed. She's going to be an excellent physician. And you? Her tone suggested she already knew the answer. Did you ever finish your degree? No. Life took a different path. Well, not everyone's cut out for the rigor of medical training. I'm sure you found your own fulfillment. I had. Fulfillment in the form of 23 patents, 100,000 lives saved, and a company that had revolutionized cancer treatment. But I smiled and nodded like the failed daughter they expected. Elena's speech was excellent, heartfelt, dedicated to our parents and their inspiration. She thanked them for showing her that medicine was about more than career, it was about changing lives. I applauded with everyone else, genuinely happy for her success. Then the keynote speaker was announced, Dr. James Harrison, Chief of Oncology at Memorial Sloan Kettering, pioneer in immunotherapy implementation. I knew that name. More importantly, I knew his story. His wife Sarah had been patient number 47 in our expanded PRX1 trial. Stage 4 lung cancer, given 3 months to live. That was 6 years ago. Last Christmas, she'd sent a card to Prometheus thanking the unnamed researchers who'd given her time to see her children graduate, marry, start families of their own. Dr. Harrison took the podium with the gravitas of someone who'd seen death negotiated and occasionally defeated. His speech began predictably, the future of medicine, the promise of new technologies, the importance of never stopping learning. Then he shifted. I want to tell you about a patient. My wife, Sarah. 6 years ago, she was dying. Traditional treatments had failed. Multiple oncologists had essentially told us to prepare for the end. The room was silent, captivated. Then she enrolled in a trial for something called PRX1. You know it now as Proleukin X, the standard of care for advanced lung cancers. But then, it was experimental. And proven. Our last hope. He paused, emotion visible on his weathered face. Within 3 months, her tumors had shrunk by 70%. Within 6 months, no detectable cancer. She's been in complete remission for 5 years. Applause rippled through the room. I sat frozen, knowing what was coming. I made it my mission to find out who developed this treatment. Which team gave me back my wife, gave my children back their mother. It took years, the company was notoriously private about its leadership. But I finally found her. His eyes swept the room and landed on me with laser precision. Dr. Sophia Russo. Are you here tonight? Every head in the room turned. My mother's face went white. Elena's mouth fell open. The silence was deafening. I stood slowly, decades of training in poise the only thing keeping me upright. Dr. Harrison, I acknowledged. He left the podium, walking directly toward me. The crowd parted like the Red Sea. Ladies and gentlemen, he announced, voice carrying without the microphone, you're looking at the woman who revolutionized cancer treatment. Founder and Chief Scientific Officer of Prometheus Biotech. Developer of the PRX protocol suite. Holder of 23 patents that have saved over 100,000 lives. He reached me and did something that shocked everyone, he hugged me. This distinguished oncologist, hugging the family's gold digger disappointment. Thank you, he whispered, loud enough for nearby tables to hear. Thank you for saving Sarah. Thank you for saving thousands of Sarahs. When he pulled back, tears were streaming down his face. I know you value privacy, but these young doctors need to know, this is what changing medicine looks like. Not just treating disease, but eliminating it. Not managing death, but defeating it. Dr. Harrison, I managed, voice steady despite the chaos around me, your implementation of the protocols was masterful. The credit belongs to everyone who. No, he interrupted. I've read your papers, all of them, once I knew what to look for. The elegance of your approach, the paradigm shift in thinking about immune response, that was all you. You saw what the rest of us missed. He turned to address the room again. For those who don't know, Prometheus Biotech has revolutionized oncology. Their treatments are now standard protocol in most major cancer centers. Dr. Russo did this while maintaining complete anonymity, never seeking glory or recognition. That's true scientific nobility. But Elena's voice cut through the stunned silence. She's not a doctor. She dropped out. She married. She gestured helplessly. I have a PhD in molecular biology from MIT, I said quietly. I didn't drop out. I graduated summa cum laude, then founded Prometheus. Marcus is my business partner and husband, in that order. PhD isn't a real doctor. This from my mother, grasping at straws. Dr. Harrison laughed, actually laughed. Dr. Patricia Blackwood, I presume? You do realize the protocols your own hospital uses for pediatric cancers were developed by your daughter? That the PR and PRX stands for Prometheus Russo? My mother sank into her chair. The Elena Blackwood who just gave that wonderful speech, he continued, you mentioned implementing new immunotherapy protocols at Mass General. Those are your sister's protocols. You've been using her life's work without knowing it. Elena looked like she might faint. The PRX suite, that's you? Among other things, I admitted. But why? My father finally found his voice. Why hide this? Why let us think? You told me repeatedly that research wasn't real medicine. That only MDs were real doctors. That I was wasting my potential. I kept my voice level, professional. So I stopped trying to convince you otherwise and focused on the work. We could have been proud, my mother started. Could you? I challenged. Or would you have found ways to diminish it? Would a biotech company have been less than a surgical career? Would saving lives through research have counted less than saving them in an OR? The silence answered for me. 100,000 lives, Dr. Harrison said into that silence. Conservative estimate. Probably closer to 150,000 now. And growing every day. He pulled out his phone, showing a photo. My grandchildren. 3 of them. They exist because of your daughter's work. How many grandchildren around the world exist because of Dr. Sophia Russo? How many parents, spouses, siblings? She let us believe she was a gold digger, Elena said weakly. For 12 years. I let you believe what you wanted to believe, I corrected. Every time I tried to explain my work, you dismissed it. Every time I mentioned the company, you changed the subject. You needed me to be the failure so Elena could be the success. I gave you what you needed. That's not, my mother protested. Thanksgiving, 3 years ago. I mentioned we were entering phase 3 trials. You said that's nice, dear, and asked Elena about her rotation schedule. Christmas 2 years ago, I tried to tell Dad about our FDA approval. He said he didn't have time for Marcus's hobbies and asked Elena about her fellowship applications. Each example landed like a blow. They couldn't deny it, others at nearby tables had witnessed these dismissals over the years. I have a question, Dr. Harrison said, clearly enjoying himself. Prometheus went public last year. The IPO valued the company at $2.8 billion, I said quietly. And your stake? 47%. He whistled low. So the gold digger is worth roughly $1.3 billion? Self-made? It was never about the money, I insisted. It was about the science. About finding better ways to fight cancer. Which you did. Spectacularly. He addressed my parents again. Your daughter isn't just rich. She's not just successful. She's revolutionary. Medical schools will be teaching her innovations for generations. She saved more lives than most doctors will in entire careers. But she's not seeing patients, my mother said desperately. She's not doing real medicine. Mom, Elena interrupted, voice strange. The 8-year-old with all I treated last month? She's alive because of Sophia's PRX3 protocol. The grandmother with pancreatic cancer who got 5 more years? Sophia's PRX2. Every immunotherapy treatment I've used this year, that's all Sophia. She turned to me, tears in her eyes. I've been saving lives with your tools while calling you a failure. You're a good doctor, Elena. The tools only work if skilled physicians implement them. Stop, she said. Stop being gracious. We don't deserve it. I don't deserve it. The room had become theater, our family drama playing out before the medical elite of Los Angeles. But I was exhausted by the performance, tired of scripts and roles. I need air, I said. Dr. Harrison caught my arm gently. Before you go, would you consider speaking at Memorial Sloan Kettering? My fellows would learn so much from you. I don't really do public appearances. I know. But maybe it's time? You've hidden long enough. I looked at my family, my mother crying, my father stunned, Elena devastated by revelations that rewrote 12 years of assumptions. Maybe, I agreed. Send me details. I made it to the terrace before the tears came. 12 years of hiding, of letting them believe the worst, of choosing silence over conflict. It had protected my work but cost me family. Sophia? Elena stood in the doorway, mascara streaking her cheeks. It's your graduation dinner, I said. You should be inside. Fuck the dinner. The profanity shocked me, Elena never swore. 12 years, sophomore 12 years I've used you as an example of wasted potential. Do you know how many times I've told people about my brilliant sister who threw it all away for a rich husband? It's fine. It's not fine. She was fully crying now. You changed medicine. You saved hundreds of thousands of lives. You built a billion-dollar company. And I called you a gold digger. We all did. How can you even look at us? Because you're my family, I said simply. And I chose to let you believe it. That's on me too. No. No, you don't get to take responsibility for our cruelty. She sat beside me on a stone bench. We needed you to be a failure. It made us feel better about ourselves. That's sick, sophomore. That's really sick. Medical families are complicated. Medical families are toxic, she corrected. God, do you remember when Mom was diagnosed? You suggested PRX1. You tried to help with your own cure, and we dismissed you. She survived. That's what matters. With a 73% response rate instead of the 94% PRX1 achieves. Those 21 percentage points, that's on our pride. We sat in silence, the party continuing inside without us. What's it like? Elena asked finally. Building something that matters? Really matters? Terrifying, I admitted. Every failure could mean lives lost. Every delay in trials is someone's loved one we couldn't save in time. The weight of it is why you're worth $1.3 billion while actually deserving it. She laughed shakily. I've been so proud of my 12 publications. You have 147. Different kinds of publications. Yours have your name on them. Why didn't you use your name? Company policy initially. Protect researchers from poaching. Then it became habit. And honestly? I liked the anonymity. Let the work speak for itself. The work is screaming, sophomore screaming that you're brilliant and we're idiots. My parents appeared on the terrace, looking lost. 12 years of certainty shattered in 12 minutes. Sophia, my mother started, then stopped. Started again. I don't. I can't. You built Prometheus, my father said, voice hollow. You built a company that's revolutionizing oncology, and we thought you were playing housewife. I was playing housewife. It was easier than fighting your assumptions. We're horrible parents, my mother said flatly. We pushed you away because you didn't fit our mold, then punished you for succeeding outside it. You're not horrible. You're human. You had expectations. I didn't meet them. Stop defending us. She was crying again. We failed you. We spent 12 years pitying you while you were changing the world. What kind of parents do that? The kind who confuse different with lesser, I said. The kind who love their children but don't know how to love their choices. $2.8 billion, my father muttered. From nothing. In 12 years. It's not about the money. I know, he interrupted. I've been reading about Prometheus on my phone. The innovations, the lives saved, the complete paradigm shift in treatment approaches. You did what every oncologist dreams of, you didn't just treat cancer, you taught the body to defeat it. With a lot of help. Marcus, our team, the clinicians who believed in the science. Your science, Elena corrected. Your vision. Your revolution. The Beverly Hills Hotel terrace became our confessional. 12 years of assumptions dissected like specimens. My mother admitting she'd been threatened by my choosing research over clinical practice. My father acknowledging he'd dismissed my PhD because it wasn't an MD. Elena confessing she'd needed me to fail so her success felt earned rather than expected. What happens now? My mother asked eventually. How do we move forward from this? I don't know, I admitted. I've been the family disappointment for so long, I'm not sure how to be anything else to you. You were never a disappointment, my father said firmly. We were disappointed in our own narrow vision, and we projected that onto you. You're Christ, Sophia, you're extraordinary. And we missed it because we were too busy looking for ordinary success. I want to visit Prometheus, Elena said suddenly. See your labs, meet your team, understand what you built. If you'll let me. It's not about letting you. It's about whether you're genuinely interested or just guilty. Both, she admitted. But more interested than guilty. I've been using your protocols without understanding the elegance behind them. I want to learn from my sister, the genius I was too proud to see. Marcus texted, board meeting over. How's the reveal going? I showed them the message. He wanted me to tell you years ago. Said hiding was hurting me more than helping. Smart man, my mother said. In business and life. We misjudged him too. You thought he was my meal ticket. He thought I was the best investment he'd ever make. Turns out we were both right, just not how you imagined. Sophia Russo, billionaire, my father said, testing the words. My daughter, the billionaire cancer researcher. My daughter who Forbes called the most important scientist you've never heard of. You Googled me. Frantically. Do you know how many articles there are speculating about the mysterious Drive S. Russo? Half the medical internet has theories about who you are. I think I'm done hiding now. Good, Dr. Harrison said, appearing with perfect timing. Because I've told everyone inside who you are, and there's a line of oncologists wanting to meet you. Also, your sister's graduation cake is getting warm. Elena laughed, surprising us all. Only at a Blackwood family event would the graduate become a footnote to the revelation that our black sheep is actually a unicorn. You're not a footnote, I assured her. This is your day. I'll slip out. Like hell. She grabbed my arm. 12 years of hiding is enough. You're coming inside, meeting my colleagues who unknowingly worship your work, and eating graduation cake like a normal family. Then tomorrow, we start over. All of us. It won't be easy, I warned. 12 years of patterns don't disappear overnight. Neither do 12 years of revolutionary research, my mother said. If you can crack cancer's code, we can crack family dysfunction. One's significantly easier than the other, I said dryly. Then it's good you're brilliant, my father said. We'll need all the help we can get. We walked back into the ballroom together. The rest of the evening was surreal, oncologists approaching with reverence, Elena's classmates starry-eyed at meeting the mysterious Prometheus founder, my parents navigating the whiplash of their assumptions imploding. Your daughter saved my mother, one young resident told them. PRX2 gave us 3 more years. She met her grandchildren because of Dr. Russo. Each testimony was a nail in the coffin of their narrative. The gold digger was a savior. The disappointment was a revolutionary. The failure had succeeded beyond their wildest dreams. I need to ask, Elena said during a quiet moment. The money. $1.3 billion. What do you even do with that? Fund more research. Create foundations. Ensure access to treatments regardless of ability to pay. I smiled. Turns out being a gold digger means I can give away a lot of gold. The Prometheus Foundation has provided free treatment to over 10,000 patients, Dr. Harrison added, because he'd apparently appointed himself my publicist. Fully funded, including travel and lodging for families. You did that? My mother asked. Marcus and I believe medicine shouldn't be just for those who can afford it, I said. The foundation ensures everyone has access to PRX protocols. How did we miss this? My father asked, more to himself than anyone. How did we have a daughter changing the world and not see it? Because you were looking for a different kind of change, I said gently. You wanted another surgeon, another clinical physician. When I chose research, you stopped looking. The party wound down differently than it had started. Instead of being the embarrassing sister relegated to a corner, I found myself fielding questions from brilliant minds who'd been using my work without knowing its origin. Elena, rather than being resentful, seemed genuinely excited to bridge our worlds. We could collaborate, she suggested as we finally prepared to leave. Your research, my clinical experience. Imagine what we could accomplish together. I'd like that, I said, meaning it. My parents stood by the valet station, looking older and more fragile than they had hours earlier. 12 years of certainty had aged them in an evening. Sophia, my mother began, then stopped. I don't know how to do this. How to be proud of you 12 years too late. How to apologize for failing you so completely. Start by stopping, I suggested. Stop apologizing, stop flagellating. Just, be my parents. Ask about my work because you're interested, not guilty. Get to know Marcus as my partner, not my bank account. Let me be your daughter, not your redemption story. Can you forgive us? My father asked quietly. I forgave you years ago. I had to move forward. The question is whether you can forgive yourselves. I don't think we can, he admitted. Not yet. Maybe not ever. Then we work on that too. Together. Marcus was waiting when I got home, champagne chilling, though he knew I'd be too emotionally drained to celebrate. How bad was it? He asked, pulling me into his arms. Nuclear. Dr. Harrison recognized me, outed everything. The family imploded. Then maybe started to rebuild. I'm not sure. I'm proud of you. Hiding was killing you slowly. Being seen might kill me quickly, I joked weakly. No. Being seen will let you finally live fully. No more hiding your brilliance, no more dimming your light for their comfort. They want to visit Prometheus. Elena wants to collaborate. My parents want to understand. And you? I considered. I want to let them. Cautiously. But I want to try. Then we try. Together, like always. That night, I couldn't sleep. 12 years of carefully maintained fiction had collapsed in hours. My phone buzzed with messages, colleagues who'd figured out my identity, journalists requesting interviews, medical professionals expressing shock and admiration. One message stood out. From Elena, can't sleep either. Keep thinking about all the times I used your work to save lives while calling you a failure. I'm so sorry, sophomore. But more than sorry, I'm amazed. My sister is a genius who let me shine while she stayed dark. That's love I don't deserve but want to earn. Breakfast tomorrow? I want to hear everything. I typed back, breakfast sounds good. Fair warning, I'm buying. Turns out I can afford it. Her response was immediate, I'm never letting you pay for anything again. I owe you 12 years of meals. And respect. And apologies. And probably a kidney if you ever need one. Just breakfast is fine. We'll work up to organs. It was a start. Not perfect, not healed, but honest. After 12 years of performing failure, I was ready to try authentic success. With all its complications, revelations, and possibilities. The next morning, Elena showed up at my actual house, the one in Bel Air that my family had never seen because it didn't fit the struggling gold digger narrative. Her eyes widened at the understated elegance, the art collection, the home that reflected success without screaming it. This is beautiful, she said. How long have you lived here? 8 years. You're the first family member to visit. That's heartbreaking. That's choices. Mine and yours. We sat in my kitchen, marble and steel and warmth, drinking coffee like sisters who hadn't been strangers for over a decade. "Tell me everything," Elena said. "From the beginning. The real beginning." So I did. The late nights in MIT labs, the eureka moment that led to PRX1, the years of failure before success. Meeting Marcus as a partner before a husband. Building Prometheus from nothing to everything. The decision to hide, to protect both the work and family egos. "We drove you underground," she said when I finished. "Our rigidity, our narrow definitions. We literally forced you to choose between family and calling." "I chose both. Just separately." "That's generous." "We were assholes. You were products of your environment. Medical dynasties don't encourage deviation. Stop defending us. We failed you." "Okay. You failed me. Now what?" She considered. "Now I learn. About your work, your life, your actual self. I've spent 12 years with a fictional sister. I'd like to know the real one. The real one works 80-hour weeks, forgets to eat during research sprints, and once spent 3 days in the lab without leaving." Sounds familiar. Maybe we're more alike than different. Maybe. My phone rang. Dr. Harrison, because apparently the universe wasn't done with revelations. "Dr. Russo, I have an unusual request. The American Association for Cancer Research wants to give you their Lifetime Achievement Award. This year. At 38. It would be their youngest recipient ever. I don't do awards." "I know. But consider this, visibility matters. Young researchers need to see that revolutionary work can come from unexpected places. Your story could inspire the next breakthrough. Can I think about it?" "Of course. But Sophia? It's time to stop hiding. Your light is too bright for shadows." After he hung up, Elena stared at me. Lifetime Achievement Award. At 38. My sister. It's just recognition. It's validation of everything you've built while we belittled you. Take the damn award. Take all the awards. Make mom and dad sit in the front row while the medical establishment honors the daughter they dismissed. That's petty. That's justice. Small, petty justice, but I'll take it. My parents arrived an hour later, looking uncertain in my foyer. 12 years of assumptions didn't prepare them for their daughter's actual life. "The house is substantial," my mother managed. "We've done well," I acknowledged. "Would you like a tour?" I showed them my home office, walls of degrees and patents they'd never seen. The lab I'd built in the basement for weekend tinkering. The library full of medical journals with my research cited and circled. "You kept working," my father said, touching a notebook filled with molecular diagrams. "Even with the company successful, you kept researching. The work never stops. Cancer evolves, so we evolve with it." "Show them the wall," Elena urged. I hesitated, then led them to a hallway lined with framed letters. Thank you notes from patients, families, doctors. Hundreds of them, each representing a life touched by Prometheus protocols. "Dear Dr. Russo," my mother read aloud. "You gave me 5 years I shouldn't have had. I saw my daughter graduate, get married, have children. Every moment is because of you." She was crying by the 3rd letter. "These are just the ones from this year," I said quietly. "I have storage units full of them. Each one reminds me why the work matters." "We told you research wasn't real medicine," my father said hoarsely. "We said you weren't saving lives. We were so wrong, Sophia. So catastrophically wrong. You believed what you were taught. Clinical medicine is visible, immediate. Research is abstract until it isn't." "When does it stop being abstract?" my mother asked. "When a 5-year-old survives leukemia. When a mother sees her children grow up. When someone gets decades instead of months." I touched one letter from a young father. "Then it's as real as any surgery." We spent the day rebuilding on the ruins of old assumptions. My parents asked questions, real ones, not performative. Elena dove into the science with the enthusiasm of someone discovering a new passion. Marcus joined us for lunch, finally seen as my partner rather than my meal ticket. I owe you an apology, my father told him. I assumed you were taking advantage of my daughter. Instead, you were empowering her. Sophia empowered herself, Marcus corrected. I just tried to keep up. Still. We misjudged you. Both of you. Catastrophically. Water under the bridge, Marcus said, though I knew how much their dismissal had hurt him too. What matters is moving forward. Speaking of forward, I said, Dr. Harrison called. AACR wants to give me their Lifetime Achievement Award. Take it, my family said in unison. I don't know. Awards feel performative. Awards feel like recognition you've earned, Elena interrupted. Take it. Let the medical community see the woman behind Prometheus. Let young researchers know that there are multiple paths to changing medicine. Let us be there, my mother added quietly. Let us sit in that audience and be proud of you. Publicly. Finally. It won't undo 12 years. No, my father agreed. But it's a start. Let us start, Sophia. Please. I looked at these people who'd been strangers wearing family masks. Saw the genuine desire to know me, not their projection of me. Okay, I agreed. I'll accept the award. Good, Elena said. Because I already told Dr. Harrison you would. You what? Called him this morning. Said my brilliant sister was done hiding and the medical establishment better be ready. She grinned. He seemed delighted. You're meddling already? Sisters meddle. It's what we do. I have 12 years of meddling to catch up on. That evening, after my family left with promises to return soon, Marcus and I sat on our terrace overlooking the city. Los Angeles sprawled below, lights twinkling with lives I'd never know but might have saved. How do you feel? He asked. Exposed. Raw. Hopeful? I've been the family disappointment so long, I don't know how to be anything else. You've never been a disappointment. You've been a revolutionary in hiding. Now you get to be one in daylight. That's terrifying. That's growth. My phone buzzed. A message from my mother. I've been reading about Prometheus all day. The innovations, the lives saved, the paradigm shifts. I've also been crying all day. For you, for us, for what we missed. But mostly crying with pride I don't deserve to feel but can't help feeling. You changed medicine, Sophia. You changed the world. And tomorrow, I get to tell someone my daughter did that. Thank you for giving us tomorrow. I showed Marcus the message. See, he said. Revolutionary in daylight. It suits you. 6 months later, I stood at a podium in front of 3,000 oncologists, researchers, and physicians. The AACR Lifetime Achievement Award sat on the lectern, its weight both literal and metaphorical. In the front row sat my family, parents who now introduced me as our daughter, the cancer researcher, Elena who'd started collaborating with Prometheus on clinical applications, Marcus who'd supported every step of this journey. 12 years ago, I made a choice. To pursue understanding over recognition. To build in shadows rather than spotlights. To let my work speak because I believed science should transcend ego. The audience was silent, attentive. That choice cost me family connections but gave me focus. It denied me accolades but granted me authenticity. It labeled me a failure while I redefined success. I found my parents' eyes, saw my mother clutching my father's hand. Today, I stand here not as a warning against choosing unconventional paths, but as proof that sometimes the greatest innovations come from those willing to work without witnesses. That revolution doesn't always wear a white coat. That saving lives takes many forms, and all of them matter. I talked about the science, the failures that preceded breakthroughs, the team that made individual vision collective reality. But mostly, I talked about patience. The 5-year-old who'd grow up because of PRX3. The grandmother who'd dance at her granddaughter's wedding because of PRX1. The young father who'd coach Little League because of PRX2. Medicine isn't about the method, I concluded. It's about the mission. Whether you save lives with a scalpel or a molecule, in an OR or a lab, with immediate intervention or years of research, what matters is that you save them. That you never stop trying. That you remember every number in our statistics is a person someone loves. The standing ovation was immediate and sustained. But I only saw my family. My mother, openly weeping. My father, standing taller than I'd seen him in years. Elena, cheering like we were at a football game rather than a medical conference. Afterward, at the reception, young researchers approached with questions and stories. One, a young woman from India, clutched my hand. "I'm in a PhD program," she said. "My family thinks I'm wasting my medical degree. That research isn't real medicine. I was going to quit until I heard about you. About building Prometheus while everyone thought you'd failed. Thank you for showing me it's okay to disappoint people while pursuing purpose." "It's more than okay," I told her. "Sometimes it's necessary. Build your revolution. Let them catch up when they're ready." As the evening wound down, my family gathered around me. Not the formal positioning of the Beverly Hills Hotel, but a genuine cluster of people who'd found their way back to each other. "I'm proud of you," my mother said simply. "Not for the award or the money or the recognition. For surviving us. For thriving despite us. For giving us a second chance we don't deserve." "We're family," I said. "Second chances are what we do." "Different paths," Elena added, "our new family motto. Same destination, we finished together." The revolution wasn't just in the lab anymore. It was at our dinner table, in our group texts, in the way my parents now introduced both daughters with equal pride. It was Elena consulting me on cases and me learning from her clinical experience. It was Marcus finally being seen as my partner in all things. It was choosing visible success after invisible achievements. It was knowing that sometimes the best revenge isn't proving people wrong, it's proving yourself right, with or without witnesses. But when the witnesses finally see? When family stops assuming and starts asking? When recognition comes not from needing validation but from inspiring others? That's not revenge. That's revolution. And revolutions, like cancer cures, change everything they touch. Even families who take 12 years to notice the revolution in their midst. Different paths. Same destination. Finally, together, home. Looking back now, I realize the gold digger narrative was never about Marcus's money. It was about my family's poverty, poverty of imagination, of expanded definitions, of unconventional acceptance. They couldn't conceive of success outside their narrow parameters, so they wrote me off as someone who'd chosen an easy path. But there are no easy paths in revolutionary work. Every breakthrough comes from 1,000 failures. Every life saved represents countless hours of doubt, dead ends, and determination. Every patent filed is a promise that suffering might have an expiration date. The real gold I dug for wasn't in Marcus's bank account. It was in the genetic codes of cancer cells, in the immune system's untapped potential, in the space between what medicine accepted and what it could achieve. I mined hope from hopelessness, time from terminal diagnoses, futures from foregone conclusions. And now, finally visible to the family who'd mourned my potential while I was fulfilling it, I understand that sometimes the greatest gift we can give those we love is patience. Patience for them to expand their definitions. Patience for recognition to catch up with reality. Patience for love to overcome limited imagination. My name is Dr. Sophia Russo. I'm a daughter, sister, wife, CEO, scientist, and revolutionary. I spent 12 years as my family's cautionary tale while building their miracles. I let them believe I'd failed while redefining success. I accepted their pity while earning the world's respect. And now, in the light they finally let themselves see, I'm exactly who I always was. A Blackwood who chose a different path to healing. A woman who knew that sometimes the best way to save a life is to disappear into a lab until you find the answer. A truth that took 12 years to tell but will echo for generations in every life saved, every family preserved, every future made possible by refusing to accept that cancer gets the final word. Different paths. Same destination. Finally home. If you've ever been the family disappointment while secretly building empires, if you've chosen purpose over perception, if you've let others underestimate you while you over-delivered on promises they didn't know you'd made, I see you. Your work matters, whether witnessed or not. Your revolution is valid, whether recognized or not. Your success is real, whether acknowledged or not. But when the time comes to step into the light, when the work speaks too loudly to be ignored, when family finally sees who you've been all along, don't hide. Don't diminish. Don't apologize. Stand tall in your truth, complicated and brilliant and finally free. Different paths, same destination. Welcome home. Drop a comment below if you've ever hidden your success to keep peace. Where are you watching from? What revolutions are you building while others count you out? And please, hit that subscribe button if you believe in the power of proving yourself right, with or without witnesses. If you know that sometimes the best revenge is a life well lived and a truth finally told. Thank you for sharing my journey from gold digger to revolutionary. Thank you for understanding that families are complicated, success has many faces, and sometimes love means letting people be wrong about you until they're ready to be right. Until next time, keep building your revolutions. Whether they're watching or not.